quickly, we just wanted to talk about, what is fertility yoga and why is it beneficial for those trying to conceive. And fertility yoga is specialized towards those on the fertility journey, in that we're using the movements and the breath work to help to increase circulation and blood flow into the reproductive organs, and also to decrease stress, which is a huge one, yeah. And so we use, breath work and movement practices, as well as some other things to utilize that and do that, yeah. And so in terms of detoxing, we're sure that Denise has talked to you about, obviously it's not just a physical detox, but emotions can come up as well. So, we use the movements and our breath and sound to also release.
Yeah, and so just being mindful, this is, yoga is all about just becoming aware and being mindful. So as things come up, they probably will. Just, we're encouraging you to label them, just describe them. Don't be critical of them. Don't be worried that they're coming up. It's all a natural part of detoxing, because your body holds not only those physical toxins that we take in from the air or pesticides that we eat or whatever it may be, but you may have emotions in your body that have been there for a long time in your fascia, your connective tissue. So as you do a movement practice like yoga, or you go through detox, sometimes you're releasing emotions and you don't even know why they're coming up. So just don't be worried if that happens.
Yes. And our practice today is really going to be just more of a shortened, kind of condensed mini practice. And we are going to be focusing on warming the body and moving the body. It's in some ways gentle, in some ways a little more vigorous, but we encourage you to always listen to your body, and you'll hear me give cues and options if you need to rest and just like take a breather or do a different thing in that moment. I'll give you those options. So even though you are going through a detox, it's not really about like pushing physically as well. Sometimes we really need to just let our body have moments of rest, particularly because you are releasing things physically and emotionally.
Right, which puts a little extra stress on the body. So it's about listening. And really the practice of listening is not just while you're going through detox. This is really a lesson for you to learn for life, right? And really our work, we say to the clients we work with, is our work isn't just about helping you make a baby, it's helping you become a mama. And so these are really like lessons for life. So
for sure. So I think, are we ready to start?
Yeah.
And so, Deborah and Denise are gonna get on the mat. I'm gonna kind of take all of you. Hopefully you're on a mat or the floor as well. If you happen to have some props available, you can certainly integrate them. If you don't worry about it. But if you have a couple of yoga blocks, they could be helpful. If you have a blanket or a towel fold, that also might be helpful. Just, if you don't have a yoga mat or you have cranky knees like I do, I like to kind of cushion up my knees. And so if you don't, you might just want to grab like a pillow off your sofa or a towel fold or something like that.
Good suggestion.
Yeah. So I think we're going to, without further ado, we're going to get started here. I just want to take a moment for all of us to just drop into our breath for a second, and then we'll actually get on the mat to move. So just take a moment and feel your body in space. Feel your pelvis gently rooting down upon whatever it is you're sitting upon. And take a full breath in through your nose. Open the mouth and exhale. We're going to do that twice more. Take a sweet breath in through the nose. And when you're ready, just let it go. One more time like that, full breath in. Now begin to invite your breath to move in through the nose and out through the nose, just for several rounds of breath here. And that sound that you were just creating as we exhaled with the open mouth, that kind of aspirated sound. See if you can begin to cultivate that here with the lips softly sealed. And if you are able to kind of find that sound, that soft constriction at the back of the throat on both the inhale and the exhale, then you're going to be starting to cultivate what is called Ujjayi Pranayama, which is translates to breath of victory or victorious breathing in Sanskrit. And this is a diaphragmatic breathing. We're going to encourage you to breathe this way throughout the practice. So just start to notice if you can find that sound as you take the breath in and out. And so the mechanics of this is when you exhale, it's almost like you were like fogging up your sunglasses to clean them, but you're keeping your lips softly sealed. So instead of the, it's, and then the inhale, my unpleasant analogy is it's almost like you're softly clearing phlegm at the back of the throat as you take the breath. Drawing your hands together in front of your heart. Start to rub your hands vigorously to create some heat, some energy. And then in a moment, I'm going to say clap your hands. And when you do, afterwards, keep about an inch between them. Clap, keep about an inch between them. Feel that energy, that kind of vibrancy through the hands. And then take those open palms and rest them right over your heart space. Allowing your chest to rise up to meet your hands. Gently bowing the head. And taking this moment to set a conscious intention for your practice today. Your intention is just something you place your attention upon. Energy follows intention. So maybe, you're doing an intention that's as simple as a word, a phrase, or an offering for yourself. Maybe it's a simple phrase like, I am, fill in the blank. I am peaceful. I am calm. I am balanced. Whatever that is for you, once you have that set, gently lift your head, release your hands, and open the eyes to a soft gaze. Now, we're going to utilize the Ujjayi breath throughout the practice, but we're going to take a few rounds right now of what we kind of call the sighing Ujjayi, where we release with sound. And throughout the practice, you may hear me say, now take a deep breath in and exhale, let it out with sound. So sound is another way that we can kind of release residual tension, excess heat, just kind of this, it's almost like when we sigh, we're just like letting something go. So take a full breath in, Ujjayi, if you can. Let it out with sound. Twice more like that. Deep breath in. One more time, full breath. Good. And then allowing that breath to move in and out through the nose. So let's start to get onto our mats. And we are going to start on hands and knees, like a tabletop position. So this is the place where, if you have cranky knees, I'll just show on Denise's mat here, you can set up the blanket fold or towel fold for the knees. And we'll just move this kind of off to the side for a moment. So as you start to find your way here to hands and knees, allow your knees to be directly under your hips and allow your hands to be directly under your shoulders. And on an inhale, round your upper mid back up towards the sky and drop your head. So you're rounding up like a mad cat here. Yep. And as you exhale, you're going to elongate your spine, drawing your chest forward and looking slightly forward without cranking the neck. Inhale, rounding the upper mid back up towards the sky and dropping the head. And exhale, pulling the chest forward. Two more. Inhale, rounding up, pressing the upper back up, let the head just dangle down as much as you can. That's it. And exhale, pulling the chest forward. So you're ultimately moving on the rhythm of your breath. Last one. Inhale, rounding the upper mid back up towards the sky. Drop that head. And exhale, pulling the chest forward. Good. And then begin to circle your hips. So as you breathe, you're going to begin to circle the hips in one direction. Now that same undulation of your spine is going to be present as you move your hips. So you're just kind of really moving the body in a fluid, easy way. And it's not about getting it right. It's not about form. It's really about feeling. And as we do this, we're really stirring the energy of our second chakra. And our second chakra houses the reproductive organs and the bladder. And our second chakra really is about our right to feel, and letting go, being the people pleaser, and letting go of guilt. And then when you're ready, you're going to reverse the rotation of those circles, of the hip circles that you're making. And you're breathing. And noticing what other part of your body wants to kind of move. Does your head want to move? Do your arms want to bend a little? All of that is fine. And then gently coming back to center, back to neutral. Take your big toes together and your knees apart. Keep your hands where they are. Take your right hand forward about a hand's width distance in front of your shoulder. And then you're going to thread your left arm underneath so that you're really coming down on that upper left arm. Yeah, and you want to find the length of the spine. So Denise, I'm going to have you come forward in space just a little bit. There you go. And bring that arm with you. There. And really push down through that bottom arm, and your right hand can either be directly in front of your face, and you can use that to push and open up the shoulder, or if you feel like you can keep your chest open, you can extend your right arm straight. So you're going to decide straight this way. Yep, just like that. So you're really pushing out, and you're going to decide, it's different for everyone, what's going to feel good. So we're starting to really twist into our upper thoracic spine to release any tension in that area. And you know, the upper thoracic is this area that holds our heart space and our lungs. The heart space is our fourth chakra. And this is about unconditional love and forgiveness, compassion, and really letting go of anger and sadness. And one of the ways that we can let go of grief, as well as toxins, is through our lungs. And so, you know, when we're breathing consciously, and you'll see in a moment, we'll use our breath in that way. But also releasing with sound is kind of letting go of that through the lungs, just like letting it out. And then from here, you're going to take your right hand directly in front of your face, if it's not already, and then you're going to push down with that right arm to bring you back up, And then just for a moment, a little detour, bring your knees to parallel, hip-width distance. And inhale, this time draw your chest forward. Exhale, round your upper mid-back and drop your head a lot. 2 more. Inhale, elongate. Exhale, rounding up. Good. 1 more. Inhale, draw the chest forward. And keep the back of the neck long. And then exhale, rounding up. And then gently come back to center, back to neutral. Reset your big toes touching and your knees wide again. We're going to go to the second side. So you're going to take that left arm about a hand's width distance in front of the shoulder, just forward with the left hand. And then you're going to thread the right arm underneath. Now, one side may be different than the other, so keep that in mind. You may find that on this side you need more support, so you do keep your left hand directly in front of your face, and you push down into the earth to get that twist. So you do want to push down that bottom arm, and the left hand are pushing down into the floor so that you're not compressing your neck, but you're getting that nice rotation in your upper back, in your upper thoracic. Then notice your breath here. The breath can sometimes start to feel a little bit compromised when we start to get into some of these deeper twists like this. Just notice, is it harder to breathe? Are certain spots easier to breathe into or harder? And without judgment, just notice it. And then take a full breath in. And a full breath out. 2 more rounds of breath here. Once you've completed your second round of breath, use your left hand directly in front of your face to press down to lift up. Parallel your knees back to hip width and curl your toes under, spreading your fingers bright. If you have socks on, you might end up taking them off to see what's going to happen here. So you're not sliding. Yeah, of course. And so you're going to walk your hands about a hand's width distance forward of your shoulders. Firm your arms to straight. Spread your fingers bright. Take a full breath in. And on your exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. So you're going to lift those knees, lift those hips, Bend your knees a lot. Stick your tissue way up and back. That's it. Start to feel that release in your upper back. And then keeping that upward moving of energy through the hips, begin to pedal your legs. So you're going to bend one knee, and then you're going to switch and bend the other. And just feel into the stretch sensation in the backs of your legs. Maybe from the hamstring all the way down into the Achilles of the heel area. And notice your breath. Good. And then from here, bend both knees, sticking your tissue way up and back. See how much you can start to straighten your legs. They don't have to straighten all the way, but keep your sit bones lifting up and back. On an inhale, rock forward to plank position, top of a push-up. On your exhale, lift from your belly, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Again, inhale, rocking forward toward plank. If this is too much, just lower your knees down right here. Exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Two more. Inhale, rocking forward. You're just floating forward to plank. Good. Exhale, lifting the hips up and back. One more. Inhale, find the buoyancy through the body. Good. And exhale, lifting the hips up and back. And then walk your feet the width of the width of your mat, or wider if you feel like you're not going to slip on the wood. So it's a super wide down dog. And really feel your sit bones lifting up and back. And again, if you need to bend your knees, do so that you get that release in your upper back. Take one more breath here. And then you're going to carefully walk your hands back to meet your feet, coming to a wide-legged forward fold. In this position, you can bend your knees, you can grab onto opposite elbows if that feels good, or any other variation of your arms. Maybe you want to interlace your hands behind your back, maybe you want to take your arms around your legs. Just do what feels good in your body. Notice here, if you're clasping onto elbows, you can let your elbows just really hang toward the floor. You're still grabbing on, or you can kind of shrug your shoulders away from your ears and let your head drop. That's really what we're after, is letting the weight of the head start to traction the neck a little bit. If you are clasping the elbows, you'll switch the clasp of those elbows at any time, just so we have balance. 1 to 2 more breaths right here. And then everyone begin to bend your knees and bring your forearms onto your thighs. So it's like we're in a jockey pose, like we're in a huddle. Hut, hut. Right? And then you want to kind of shift the weight into your heels just a little bit and lift your tushy without losing your toes, and feel your hamstrings turn on. Hello, legs. Feel the length of your spine as you press your arms into your legs and you broaden your chest. So we should be feeling quads and hamstrings right about now. And then you're going to take your hands and slide them to the top of your thighs. Keeping a flat back. On an exhale, slowly press your hands into your thighs and come all the way up. Beautiful. I'm going to have you ladies turn to face forward so that you're long ways on your mat. And so here, take your feet wide, and you're going to have your toes slightly turned out, heels in. So this is not ballet class, thank goodness, right? So it's not really about a huge turnout, but it's a little bit of a turnout that when you start to bend your knees are not going past your ankles, number one. That would look like this, okay? So you don't want your knees going past your ankles, but you also want your kneecaps tracking towards your second toe. So there's an opening from the inner groin to the inner knee. So take a soft bend in the knees, just find that bend that works for you. And we're going to inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, draw the hands down towards the belly, bringing the hands on the belly. Take a second here to bring your thumbs to your navel, your index fingers touching. So you're creating this upside down triangle right here. Then you're going to inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale. Inhale, reaching the arms up. And exhale. Keeping the bend in the knees. This time, inhale, open the palms. As you exhale, you're going to do drawing your hands toward your belly. Inhale, open up. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. So there's drawing in some heat here. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. And then pressing your hands all the way to your belly again, thumbs at the index fingers, thumbs at the navel, the index fingers are touching. Right where your ring fingers are, where your ovaries are. So start to massage those ovaries. If your legs are like killing you here, just take just straighten the legs, it's fine. Do your best. So we're breathing here. And you're gonna reverse this circling of the fingers over the ovary area. And then pause with the hands on the belly. This time we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, you're going to bend your knees and let your hands drop to the floor. Then you're going to round up one vertebra at a time as you draw your arms all the way back up. And exhale, bend the knees and slap. Inhale, drawing all the way up. Exhale. Again. You're moving on your breath. Two more. Last one. Stay down for a second. Turn your toes forward. Keep a bend in your knees. You might have to shorten your stance a little bit so you feel really secure in your feet. Soften. Where can you soften right here? Just let your upper body go. Find your breath again. And then very gently, start to roll up one vertebra at a time. Keep your knees soft the whole way up. Your head is the last thing to come up. Rolling the shoulders back in place. All right. So you're going to heel toe or step your feet towards one another. And the next thing we're going to do is going to build a little more heat, and then we're going to drive it down after that. I'm going to have you guys turn this direction. Okay, so we're going to do what we call runaway train. And this is one of our more vigorous heat building kind of detoxifying practices that usually we have people do kind of on the first 2 weeks of their natural cycle. But since we're in a detox, this is kind of perfect for this. What I want to say about this is that as we get going, if you start to feel like, ooh, I'm getting lightheaded, or my knees aren't feeling so good, or I really need to not be doing this right now, I'm going to ask you to just really gently come down into a squat. Just a really gentle squat while we're doing the runaway train. So that can be your option, okay? And that goes for you too as well. All right, so here's what's gonna happen.
Right, and just real quick with the squat, if that's even challenging with the legs, just know that especially if you have a block, you can always come down to your block.
Yes, thank you.
Rather than having to just be on your legs.
True. Some people might be like, squat doesn't feel much better. Okay, so here's what's going to happen here with runaway train. We're going to, on the inhale, we're just going to break it down slow. It's almost like you're sitting back on a bar stool, so you don't have to sit super deep, okay? On your exhale, you're going to take your hands and kind of press them back. And then we're going to inhale, and then we exhale. Now, here's what's happening with the breath. It's similar. We're going to inhale through the nose, and on the exhale, we're going to go shh. Inhale through the nose, exhale, shh. And then it's going to get faster, and it sounds like a train. You ready? All right, fun times. Inhale, exhale, shh. Keep going. Make sure you don't lock your knees when you come up. We're going to go a little bit faster. 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 3, 2, 1. Hold. Hold right here. Sit down. Find your breath. Lower your arms. Slowly straighten your legs. Good. Turn and face this way and start to just circle your hips. Soften in the knees. Circle the hips. And then go the other way. So all that energy we just built up through the legs, we're now drawing back into the second chakra area. All right. And then gently come back to center. So I'm going to have you find your way onto your mat, laying down. You can lay however you want to. I'm also just going to check the time. Okay. All right, so take a moment here, and once you're laying down, hug your knees in toward your chest. It just will probably feel really good on the low back after all that leg work. You can rock from side to side, massaging your low back sacrum, or create circles with the knees, whatever feels good. Got all different ways to kind of move here. And if you do have a block, or a pillow off your sofa or something that, has a little bit of lift to it, I'm going to have you bring your feet to the floor, hip width distance. And if you're utilizing a block, you're going to take that block the wide way, either the lowest height or the middle height, right up under the sacrum. Now, there's a sweet spot, and you can feel free to move it around and make sure that it's center, that it's the right height for you, that it feels like it's in the place where your pelvis feels supported and your low back feels long. So we don't want to compress the low back. And then just take a moment to just feel how, in some ways, with the hips lifted like this, they're lifted, but they're being supported. I often feel, this is kind of weird to say, but I almost feel like my reproductive organs or the contents of my pelvis get to relax. There's something about being lifted but supported, and the way gravity is on us, that it just feels like, ooh, like take the weight off. And then from here, I'm going to have you very carefully draw your right knee in towards your chest. Now, once you bring it in, you can grab onto the front of the shin or the back of the thigh, whichever feels best on your knee and your shoulders. And if you're utilizing a block, you may feel like, uh-oh, things just shifted a little bit. I need to readjust that block a little bit, and that's okay. Listen to your intuition in that way, okay? And then keeping that right knee in, start to straighten your left leg down on the mat. Now this is getting into stretching our psoas. So the psoas, it attaches in a gazillion different places, but the place we're kind of looking at right now to stretch is as it attaches onto the front, as it cuts through the abdomen and attaches onto the front of the hip. So yeah, we want to feel some stretch through here. And so if you flex this left foot, imagine you're pressing against the baseboard of a wall, and you allow the thigh bone, bring the heel down unless it's hurting. Let the thigh bone descend. And you just want to make sure that as you do this, that you're not feeling an uneasy pull on the low back, because the psoas does attach to your low back as well. We're really just trying to stretch this front zone here. And the psoas is a pair of complicated muscles, but they're important in terms of the fertility journey, because when they get tight, they can bear down on the nerves that move into the reproductive area. So that's one reason why we're stretching them. But another is that they are connected to our central nervous system. So they're part of our fight or flight response. So stress, right? They can start to tighten. So we just want to kind of get in there. And when you feel ready, you're going to softly bend your left knee, bringing the foot back to the floor. And bring your right foot back down to the floor. Yeah, right? And then just notice the difference in size. And there may be a big difference in size as we go to the next side. You might be surprised, like, wow, this is even tighter, or maybe it's not. So you're gonna start to gently draw the left knee in towards your chest. You can, again, grab onto wherever feels best on your knee joint and your shoulders. And then slowly start to straighten your right leg. And if you imagine that your right foot was pressing against the baseboard of a wall, ideally, your toes would be turning up. Yeah. And this is where we start to really see tightness. You're tighter on this side, by the way, I think. How you doing?
Good. That's great.
So we're breathing. Now, ideally, we're doing that diaphragmatic breathing that we were doing in the beginning. Our psoas also attaches to our diaphragm. And so the diaphragm really is the area of, as it kind of goes down toward the upper abdominals, is the area of the third chakra. And this is, governs the stomach, the abdominal organs. It's really about our right to have will and to let go of shame.
It's our center for self-confidence,
Yes.
our self-esteem center, and so a lot of times that's an area that gets tight, and of course when we're detoxing with the stomach, digestion, all of those things, it's a third chakra area. And the other thing about the diaphragm that's really important is that when we breathe with the diaphragm, when we move it, we're activating the vagus nerve, which is the master nerve that turns on your relaxation response. So breath and breathing with the diaphragm is one of the fastest ways to get your body back into relaxation mode and out of stress mode. So super important.
Absolutely. When you're ready, start to bend your right leg. Start to bring your left foot back to the floor. Feel your feet rooting down, about hip width distance. Let your knees point straight ahead. Let your arms rest down by your side, palms facing up. Yeah. Take a breath in and feel the backs of your shoulders press. And on your exhale, lift your hips. Push down through your feet. Lift your hips. Move whatever you have underneath. Keep your hips lifted for just a second. So you're really pressing the backs of your shoulders. Open up your throat. Take another breath in. On your exhale, lower about a quarter of the way down. So you're hovering the hips, working your abs for just a second. Take another breath in. Exhale another quarter of the way down, vertebra by vertebra. There you go. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale another quarter of the way down. Feel your core turning on. And 1 more. And all the way down. Yeah. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Take your knees wide and grab hold behind each thigh and let your knees drop open. So this is like a soft version of happy baby pose. And it feels really nice on the low back and the hips, and you can rock if that feels good, but just take this moment. And then we're going to take just a final twist. So you can bring your knees together, bring your arms out to your sides, and start to allow your legs to drop over to the left. Now, for some people, having 2 knees bent like this might not feel so great. You can always outstretch the bottom leg. So just know that there's options. And if we were going to hang here for a really long time, I'll just show you the setup that I really like with the bottom leg straight. So if you do, keep this straight. If you do have blocks, one way that you could work it is something like this at any height, which is just a nice support. Then you want to wiggle your left shoulder blade out from under you and to the left. There we go. And that gets even deeper in there. Just opens up the thoracic section. Yeah. Full breath in.
And twisting in general is just one of the ways the body naturally detoxifies, right? We're kind of wringing out those abdominal organs.
And the spine gets to move and rotate in a different way. That's one of the things about yoga in general in terms of our spine, just the health of our spine in general, is that the movements of flexion and extension and rotation of the spine are really the only way that we're able to flood the nutrients that's called imbibition into the vertebra as after we go past the age of 20. So up to age 20, it's naturally being produced, like it's almost like the lubrication and the hydration and nutrients for our vertebra. But after age 20, the only way we can do it is through movement. So another great reason for yoga. And then, so take a breath in where you feel like your breath's moving into your right hand and fingertips. And on your exhale, take that arm all the way over to your left, curl in and get that nice unfurling of the upper back, kind of counter twisting, if you will. And then you're going to gently bring your whole body back to center, legs and all. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Find a little bit of symmetry for just a moment. And then bringing the arms out to the side. Start to take your legs to the other side for the twist. And certainly you can do whatever with the legs, but you might want to match what you did on the other side. Totally up to you. It might feel different from one side to the other for a myriad of reasons. And then you just want to wiggle that right shoulder blade. Full breath in. Full breath out. And just where can you soften? What can you surrender in this moment? What can you let go of? Sometimes it's our thoughts, right? And sometimes it's a part of the body that we're maybe unknowingly gripping or holding or propping. Couple more breaths here. Full breath in. And then take a big breath in where you feel that breath moving into your left hand, or down your left arm. And on your exhale, bring that arm all the way over to your right. Reach past your right hand, really just counter stretching your upper back. Which feels so nice. And then when you're ready, draw your body back to center, legs and all. Hug your knees in one last time. Take a full happy baby pose, which is you can either grab onto the back of the thighs, the outer ankles, or the outer edges of your feet. You're, of course, laying on the floor. Yeah, you're just going to grab onto the place where you feel like your sacrum and low back can release down to the floor, as can your shoulders. So if you're grabbing onto the outer edges of your feet and your shoulders are way up near towards your ears, you might just want to grab onto the outer ankles. Take a couple breaths here. You can rock or just be in stillness. Just see what your body is craving in this moment. And when you're ready, gently release. And this would be the time that, if we had a whole lot of time, and if you were doing this practice on your own, I would say get yourself into a super comfortable position and be in what we call Shavasana, which is the final resting pose. And this could be, your legs outstretched. If you have a tender low back or tight low back, it's really nice to take something under the knees. So you could do that at any height. There's several different ways that you could take Shavasana. And you can let your hands just rest on your belly or the front of your body or out to the sides. And this would maybe be something that you would be here for up to 10 minutes, like really just letting the body really assimilate the information that's come through the practice. Because of time, I'm going to have you ladies carefully draw your knees in towards your chest. You can roll onto, we usually say the left side in the fertility practice, but it really doesn't matter, but you can roll to one side. Our left side is our feminine hemisphere. Just kind of curl in for a second. You're gonna, when you're ready, use the strength of your arms to press yourself up to sitting. Keeping the head heavy as you come up. And we'll just seal our practice, and I'm sure you'll want to do something, but Just take this moment, drawing your hands to your heart, Anjali Mudra. And let your thumbs rest against your chest. Let your chest rise up to meet your thumbs. Gently bowing the head. Acknowledging the wisdom of your heart. Acknowledging your inner teacher. And taking this moment to remember the intention that you set for your practice today. Thank you for sharing your practice with us. We close our practices for fertility yoga instead of namaste. We say namamaste, which is the Divine Mother in me acknowledges and sees the Divine Mother. Namaste.